Hello, my friends. It's so good to be with you today. Thank you for letting me come into your home, your car, your headphones, wherever you're watching this from. I believe you're not here by accident. I believe Allah guided you to this moment, to this message, because He has something special He wants to awaken inside of you. Maybe right now life feels heavy. On the outside, everything looks fine. You're working hard, posting the right pictures, smiling in front of people. But deep down, there's a restlessness, a quiet ache, a feeling that something is missing. You lie down at night tired in your body, but wide awake in your heart. You wonder, is this all there is? Is this really what my life is about? Or maybe you've been through so much that you've almost stopped expecting peace. You've accepted that stress is normal, that anxiety is just who you are, that disappointment is your permanent address. You've survived, but you haven't really lived. Today I want to talk to you about a power that can change all of that. The topic of my speech is the power of Islam finding peace, purpose, and true success. Islam is not just a label on your ID card, not just something you inherit from your parents, not just prayer mats and mosques and special days. Islam is a living power. It is a light from Allah that can enter your heart and completely transform how you think, how you feel, and how you live. Some of you have tasted that power before. Maybe in Ramadan, in sujood, when your forehead touched the ground and you felt tears, you didn't plan to cry. Maybe one night you raised your hands and called on Allah with sincerity, and for a moment you felt a calm you couldn't explain. That was the power of Islam touching your heart. But life gets noisy. The world pulls you in 1,000 directions: money, status, people's approval, endless comparisons. The more you chase what the world calls success, the more distant real peace seems to become. Islam comes to tell you, your heart was never created to be at peace with money alone, with people alone, with status alone. Your heart was created to be at peace with Allah. There is a verse in the Quran that tells us, in essence, surely in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest, not in more likes, not in more followers, not in more zeros in your bank account. In the remembrance of Allah, I want you to imagine your life like a ship out on the open sea. The waves are your problems, debts, relationships, health issues, doubts, fears. The storm is fierce sometimes. The wind is howling. You feel tossed around. But Islam gives you an anchor. Islam doesn't always stop the storm on the outside, but it gives you a stillness on the inside, a peace that says, my Lord knows, my Lord sees, my Lord is with me, and my story is not over. When you really connect with Islam, not just as a set of rules, but as a direct relationship with the one who created you, you begin to discover three incredible gifts. First, you find peace, a calmness deep in your chest that doesn't depend on the situation, a sakina sent by Allah. Second, you find purpose. You realize you're not random, not a mistake, not just another number. You are intentionally created, carefully designed, honored by Allah. Your life has meaning far beyond what this world can measure. And third, you find true success, not just temporary wins that disappear when you die, but success in this world and the next, what the Quran calls falah, the ultimate victory. The world will tell you that success is about competition, be better than her, richer than him, more famous than them. Islam tells you success is about connection to Allah, to your purpose, to the people you serve. The world measures success by what you have. Islam measures success by who you are with Allah. Today, I want you to open your heart to the possibility that there is more for you. More peace than you've ever experienced. A clearer sense of purpose than you've ever known. A definition of success that doesn't break you, but builds you. You may think, but you don't know my past. You don't know what I've done. You don't know how far I've drifted. You're right, I don't. But Allah knows, and still, He woke you up this morning. He gave you another day. He brought you to this reminder. That alone is a sign that He has not given up on you. So don't you give up on yourself. Islam is not only for the perfect. Islam is the path that heals the broken, guides the confused, strengthens the weak, lifts those who have fallen. The prophet A said that Allah is more merciful to his servants than a mother is to her child. That is the Lord who invites you closer through Islam. In this talk, we're going to walk through how Islam can quiet the storm inside your heart and fill it with peace. Turn your daily routine into a meaningful journey with purpose. Redefine success in a way that frees you from society's pressure and connects you to Allah's pleasure. By the end of this, my hope is that you won't just say, Islam is beautiful, but that you'll say, Islam is my path. Islam is my power. Through Islam, I know who I am, why I'm here, and where I'm going. So, wherever you are right now, maybe you're strong in your faith, maybe you're struggling, maybe you're just curious, I want you to stay with me. Because the same Lord who turned darkness into light for countless hearts before you can do it for you, starting today. Let's begin this journey together. The power of Islam finding peace, purpose, and true success. When you look around today, everything feels loud. Notifications are buzzing, news is breaking, expectations are rising. People are rushing from one thing to the next, smiling for the camera, but silently struggling inside. It's almost as if the world has accepted that stress is normal, that anxiety is just part of life. Yet deep inside, your heart knows it was made for something calmer, something gentler. Islam speaks directly to that restless heart and offers a kind of peace that is not fragile, not dependent on perfect circumstances, but rooted in your connection with the one who never changes. In the Quran, Allah tells us, surely, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. That rest is more than a momentary relief. It's what the Quran calls sakina, tranquility, that Allah sends down into the hearts of the believers. This isn't just positive thinking, it's a divine gift. When you remember Allah, when you call on Him, when you turn your thoughts away from the chaos of creation and back to the Creator, something happens inside. The heartbeat of fear starts to slow, the noise of worry begins to fade, and a quiet certainty starts to grow. My Lord is with me. I am not alone. Islam gives you practical doors through which that sakina can enter. Think about Salah. 5 times a day, Allah invites you to step out of the storm and into His presence. Wudu washes not just your limbs, but your mind. As you stand, bow, and prostrate, you are literally lowering the burdens you've been carrying onto the ground before the Lord of the worlds. You recite words that remind you who is really in control, who really provides, who really protects. It's like pressing pause on the whole world. Just so your soul can breathe again, this peace also comes from the way Islam teaches you to see your life. Without faith, every problem feels like an accident, every delay like a disaster, every loss like a punishment. With Islam, you begin to understand Qadr, divine decree. You realize that nothing reaches you except what Allah has written for you, and nothing misses you except what was never meant for you. That doesn't remove the pain, but it removes the panic. You can say, my job is to strive. The results are in Allah's hands. Worry starts to shrink when you know that behind every closed door, either there is a better door or a hidden wisdom. Sakina grows when you make dhikr in the car. Whisper, Alhamdulillah, after a long day. Say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil when you're afraid, and a lillahi wa inna alayhi rajiun when you lose something precious. Each phrase is like a seed of peace planted in your heart. Over time, that heart stops being dragged by every headline, every comment, every fear about tomorrow. It becomes anchored by the remembrance that Allah sees you, hears you, and is closer to you than anyone else in your life. Tawheed means recognizing that there is only one true God, Allah, who created you, sustains you, and controls everything that happens in your life. It's not just a belief you memorize, it's a lens through which you see the world and your own problems. When you really live Tawheed, you stop feeling like you're being pulled in 100 directions, trying to please 100 different gods of money, status, and people's opinions. Your heart starts to settle because it knows there is only one whose pleasure truly matters. So much of our anxiety comes from feeling scattered. You want to make your parents happy, your friends happy, your boss happy, society happy, and somewhere along the way you lose yourself. Tawheed gathers you back together. When you say La ilaha illallah, you are declaring, I will not be a slave to anything and anyone besides Allah. That one sentence cuts the chains to fake sources of worth and brings your heart back to its true master. Knowing Allah as one also means knowing His names and attributes. He is Razak, the provider, so you don't panic when a job falls through. He is Al-Hafith, the protector, so your heart doesn't collapse every time the news turns dark. He is Al-Latif, the subtle, gently guiding your life in ways you don't yet see. When your mind remembers who your Lord is, your heart stops inventing worst-case scenarios and starts trusting the one in control. Tawheed also brings calm because it answers the deepest questions. Why am I here? Who am I trying to please? What is success for me? Without that, people jump from goal to goal, identity to identity, constantly reinventing themselves yet never feeling complete. With Tawheed, the answer becomes clear. I am a servant of Allah, here to know Him, love Him, and obey Him. That clarity quiets the noise of confusion and gives you a firm ground to stand on, even when life around you is uncertain. When you worship only one God, your heart no longer has to keep track of competing standards. The world says you're successful if you look a certain way, earn a certain amount, post a certain lifestyle. Allah says you're successful if you're sincere, obedient, and patient. The world's standards change every season. Allah's standard never changes. That consistency itself is a source of calm because you know exactly what to aim for. Even when people misunderstand you, Tawheed also reshapes how you see fear. If you believe people can harm you independently of Allah, you will live terrified of what they think, what they might do, what they might say behind your back. But when you know that no one can benefit or harm you except by Allah's permission, fear begins to shrink. You respect people, but you stop fearing them in that paralyzing way because your heart is attached to the one above them all. Living Tawheed doesn't mean life becomes easy, but it does mean you're no longer facing it alone, confused and scattered. You wake up knowing there is one Lord writing your story with wisdom, one source to turn to when you're broken, one true refuge when your heart is tired. That single focus becomes the foundation that steadies you no matter how high the waves rise. Think about how your phone works. No matter how expensive it is, how many features it has, if you don't charge it, it dies. It's not broken, it's just empty. A lot of people walk around like that spiritually. They're not bad people, they're just drained. Worries, responsibilities, sins, disappointments, they all drain the heart. Islam doesn't leave you to run on empty. Allah gave you salah and dua as your daily refueling stations so your heart can keep going strong no matter what the day brings. A salah is not just a ritual, it's an appointment with the King of Kings. 5 times a day, your Lord is calling you away from the noise, away from the pressure, just to stand in front of Him and be refilled. When you say Allahu Akbar and raise your hands, you're literally throwing the world behind you. You're saying, my Lord is greater than this stress, greater than this fear, greater than this pain. Every movement, every word is designed to pull you out of the chaos and plug you back into the source of peace. Notice how the Prophet described Salah as the coolness of his eyes. It was his comfort, his rest. When something troubled him, he would say, call the prayer, let us find comfort in it. For many of us, we run to our phone, to food, to people when we're stressed. Islam invites you to run to the prayer mat first, to stand, bow, and prostrate before the one who can actually change your situation and heal your heart at the same time. Then there is dua. Dua is not only for desperate moments, it's your direct line to Allah all day long. You don't need a certain time, a certain place, a certain status to be heard. You can be in your car, walking in the street, lying in bed at 2 a.m., and the doors of heaven are open for you. Just the act of raising your hands and saying, La Allah, is an act of refueling. You are admitting, I can't carry this alone, and your Lord loves when you turn to Him like that. Sometimes you may not know what to say in dua. That's okay. Even saying, why Allah, you know what's in my heart, is enough. The power is not in fancy words, it's in a sincere heart calling on a generous Lord. Every dua you make is recorded, every tear you cry is seen, and no effort to connect with Allah is ever wasted. Either He gives you what you asked, or something better, or He protects you from something you never knew was coming, or He saves it for you as reward in the hereafter. When you combine salah and dua, your day changes. Fajr becomes a time of quiet strength before the world wakes up. Dar becomes a pause that keeps you from drowning in work and worries. Asr lifts the afternoon heaviness. Maghrib and Isha wash off the dust of the day. Between those prayers, you sprinkle dua before a meeting, during a commute, after a difficult conversation. When a memory suddenly hurts, and each time, a little more light enters your heart as you whisper your needs and your gratitude into the unseen anxiety loves to live in the future. It whispers, what if you don't make it? What if you lose this? What if things go wrong? And suddenly your heart is not in today anymore. It's trapped in tomorrow's fears. Islam doesn't deny that you have worries, responsibilities, and plans, but it gives you a shield called tawakkul, trusting Allah with what you cannot control while doing your best with what you can. Tawakkul doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what was never yours to carry in the first place. When you believe that your future is random or only in the hands of people, anxiety will always be your companion. You'll fear losing their approval, losing your income, losing your health, because you think that's where your security lies. Tawakkul shifts your focus. You start to believe with your heart, not just your tongue, that your rizq is from Allah. Your life is written by Allah. Your protection comes from Allah. People, jobs, opportunities, they are only means. The one behind them all is your Lord. There is a powerful promise in the Quran, and whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. To be sufficient means enough for your fears, enough for your needs, enough for your heart. When you truly hand over your case to Allah after tying your camel, after taking the necessary steps, your heart can breathe. You still work hard, you still study, you still apply, you still plan, but the weight of the outcome is no longer crushing your chest. The Prophet A taught us the perfect balance. A man asked if he should leave his camel untied and just trust Allah. The Prophet replied, "Tie it and then trust in Allah." That is tawakkul. You prepare for the exam and then you trust Allah with the result. You search for a job and then you trust Allah with which door opens. You do your best in the relationship, and then you trust Allah with whether it continues or ends. You stop trying to be your own God of outcomes, and you return to being a servant who does his best and leaves the rest to his Lord. Anxiety often asks, what if it doesn't work out? Tawakkul answers, if it doesn't, Allah has something better or more suitable for me, even if I don't see it yet. You may still feel nervous. Islam doesn't ask you to feel nothing. But beneath the nervousness, there is a deeper layer of calm that says, my future is not in chaos, it's in Allah's hands. That belief doesn't eliminate effort. It eliminates despair. You build tawakkul by remembering past moments when you thought you wouldn't make it, yet Allah carried you through. By reciting and reflecting on verses about His promise and His care, by saying from your heart, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for us, and He is the best disposer of affairs. Whenever fear of the future starts to rise in your chest, one of the greatest tricks of Shaitan is to make you feel like you're just one more person on this planet, living a life that doesn't really matter. If he can convince you that you're random, that your existence is accidental, then he can drain your motivation, your self-respect, and your hope. Islam comes and completely destroys that lie. The Quran reminds you that you were created on purpose, with purpose, by a Lord who never makes mistakes. The Allah says, did you think that we created you in place without any purpose, and that you would not be brought back to us. You're not here just to wake up, go to work or school, scroll, eat, sleep, and repeat. Every breath you take is part of a larger story. You were handcrafted by Allah, given a specific soul, a specific body, a specific time in history, a specific set of tests and gifts. None of that is random. It is the exact environment designed for you to know Him, grow closer to Him, and earn your place in Jannah. When you realize this, even your struggles start to look different. You stop asking, why me, in a hopeless way, and start asking, what is Allah teaching me through this? How can I respond in a way that pleases Him? Your pain is no longer pointless. It becomes a doorway to patience, to duga, to a deeper relationship with your Lord. Your blessings are no longer just for show. They become tools to serve, to give, to spread good, to be a source of light for others. Living with purpose in Islam doesn't mean you must be famous or do something the whole world notices. Sometimes your greatest acts are seen only by Allah. The way you hold back your anger, the way you forgive a family member, the way you help your parents, the way you say Bismillah before a task, the way you wipe someone's tears and encourage them to trust Allah again. The Prophet A told us that even removing something harmful from the road is an act of charity. That means your purpose is not locked in some far off big moment. It's woven into the small choices you make every day. Islam gives you a clear foundation for purpose to worship Allah, to follow the Prophet A, and to be a source of goodness on this earth. Then, within that, Allah opens different paths for different people. Some serve through knowledge, some through charity, some through art, some through business, some through raising righteous children, some through quiet, unseen acts of service. Your path doesn't have to look like anyone else's, but it does have to stay connected to your Lord.